Such a beautiful park. It's a shame it's full of bugs. Hello everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here. And today we are continuing our Pokemon SoulSilver Nuzlocke run. Last time we checked out some of the sites that we could see around Goldenrod City and made a bit of progress of exploring the areas around said city. And also think something else happened, but can't quite seem to recall. Nah, no sense beating up our skull about it. So, when we ended the last session, there was still a few things that we could do in the areas around Goldenrod City that we didn't quite get done yet. So I want to take care of like the last main area I wanted to explore before we go take on the gym at Goldenrod City. Which, to be honest, I'm not sure how that gym battle is gonna go. Like, we had some pretty close calls in some of our previous gym battles, but with this one specifically, it could really go either way depending on how things go. Yep, you can talk to the guys here and they'll tell you about the bug catching contest held at the National Park. But by heading to the east of here, we end up in a new area, which also has some apricorns we can pick. Blue apricorns. I believe those ones can be made into lure balls, which make it easier to catch Pokemon that are caught with the rod. Pretty dang useful, honestly. Very helpful for filling up the Pokedex. So definitely want to head back to Kurt sometime soon in order to get some more things, as those will obviously be very helpful to us. Before we advance much further into this route, I want to show that we have a new addition to our team here. Sparkles, who was a Shinx when we last saw her before in the last session, has now evolved into a Luxio. And I've trained her up as she could be pretty useful to us. Also, she got Effect Spores and ability, which is always pretty helpful, being able to paralyze, poison, or put an opponent to sleep if they hit her with physical moves. So that can always be pretty helpful. Also trained up a few of the other Pokemon in the box that could be useful for later, or just to fill up Pokedex slots, you know? So it's very nice we took care of that. But now let's move on to some of the battles we can do here. Let me guess what you're thinking! So what we have here is a Psychic, a type of trainer which in the vanilla games will typically use Psychic type Pokemon, or Pokemon that have access to Psychic type abilities. Here, though, we really don't have to worry too much about that, although I do remember this particular trainer used to have a very nasty Pokemon in his vanilla team, where one of the Pokemon he could use is a Kadabra, and given that this is a same strength randomizer challenge, it is pretty likely that thing could get randomized into something really deadly. So I don't believe the Krabby was it. Let's see what else we got here. Onix! That's actually not too bad. Contrary to what this thing's appearance would suggest, Onix really isn't all that threatening. It does have high defense and deceptively high speed for what you'd expect a rock type to be, but honestly, it's kind of pathetic. But definitely makes me grateful for the Johto games for actually giving it an evolution to make this Pokemon more useful. Yeah, that thing went down just like any other rock type that got hit by a stream of bubbles. I was wrong! Yep. Go figure, a Psychic type who was wrong about something. Yeah, Psychic's always just a fun little trainer you can fight. Also, it's the shortcut to Route 35 that's available here if you have access to Cut. It's a nice way to quickly get through these areas without accessing the National Park. We have some grass here, but I'm going to save our encounter here for just a little bit, because I want to talk to you.
I can probably prepare for any Pokemon adversary.
This guy might actually have something pretty formidable, given what I know he has in Vanilla. Oh, he just has a Gloom. That's actually not bad. In fact, a pretty standard Pokemon by this point in the game, being the evolution of Oddish. Which kind of relevant to some things going on, but man, I've just really been and loving this Pokemon mini-series that's been uploaded onto their main channel recently called Pokemon Path to the Peak, which is a animated show all about the Pokemon trading card game. And just a very fun series. Like, it also especially has some big... it shines a spotlight a lot on the Oddish family, because that's like the signature Pokemon of the main character, and oh man, it's such a good time. Highly recommend checking out the show if you haven't. It's only 4 episodes, and they're pretty short, all things considered, but very well worth it. But moving right along from that, Scarab is learning Brick Break. I definitely want to forget Horn Attack, as that is pretty inferior compared to Headbutt, as well as our other things. Ah, is my prediction incorrect? When I'm reading textbooks and walking, I have to look down, so I notice items on the ground. Next time I find something, I'll give it to you. You have your phone number? If you're playing Crystal and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, I highly recommend registering this trainer, as this guy can find Firestones for you, which can be very helpful for filling up your Pokedex or just helping your team improve. Spending more time with my Staryu than I have my kids. That's a bit sad, actually. Call your mom sometimes, too. I said it before, but it's nice that they establish the trainers actually having families. Just very fun, and that's their character. But yeah, very grateful I now have Brick Break on Scarab, as I know this is going to be very helpful going forward. So not only do we have a stab move on Scarab, but this one also has a very neat effect in that it can shatter a reflect or light screen that's been set up by the opponent, making it very useful not only for dealing damage, but also for just great utility of being able to shatter barriers. It's a fantastic move, and I definitely know we're going to get some good mileage out of it, which I guess can be expected with this whole crew, because honestly, it's a pretty stacked roster by this point in the game. Sure, Snorkel and Charlotte aren't evolved yet, but we got a pretty strong crew here, and couldn't be more proud. I'm the flower shop's Floria. Listen, when I sprinkle water on that wiggly tree, it jumped right up. It just has to be a Pokemon. I better be shocked at it disguising itself if you soaked it. We know what we gotta do. Snorkel, use Bubble Beam! Or not. So yeah, this tree is still blocking the path here. This is the route that you're able to access west of Violet City. So really shows just how much the Johto region intersects with different areas. There's nothing we can do about that tree until after we clear the next gym battle, however. So, how about we finish up our exploration of Route 36 by checking what we can see in the grass, and get our next encounter. Okay, Meryl. Alright, I'm a little disappointed by this encounter, specifically because I already have an Azurill, and in between streams I was trying to build up my friendship with the Azurill so I can make it evolve. But nope, I just had to run in this grass here and encounter a generical Meryl. I mean, depending on what ability and nature this thing has, this could be a very handy teammate. To answer your question there, Lydia, I do have Dupe's Claws, but I'm not applying it to the entire evolution line, as I feel it would also be, you know, kind of helpful to run into a stronger version of a Pokemon that I already kind of have. But yeah, I'm a little disappointed by this one specifically because it's something I technically already have. Alright, I am not exactly most thrilled by this, but hey, I still really like the Meryl line, so we can definitely see what this is all about. And thank you for the raid, Watcher Zigzagoon. How you doing, man? Alright, so caught herself a new teammate, so... chat, what do you think we should name this guy? As... I don't know, I really don't have an idea on what to name him. Okay, I actually do have an idea for a name here, if we're not getting suggestions right now. I was thinking we could call you Blueberry. Just very fitting. He's a round blue Pokemon and all that. It's probably not going to fit too much once he's evolved, but, you know, still fine. Also, it is nice that we do have this particular Pokemon, because evolving you is definitely going to be easier than evolving a Zero. All we have to do is level you up to 18, and then we got ourselves a pretty stacked teammate, honestly. Like, Azurill is up there for one of the most underrated Pokemon, I personally feel. It's just very tanky, and in the main series games, it definitely benefits greatly from one of its abilities, as well as getting the fairy typing in later games in the series. So yeah, this could potentially be a very useful team member to us if something happens to Snorkel, which I really hope doesn't happen. But yeah, let's go into our box right now and see our current roster of Pokemon. Shell Armor. Ooh, that definitely does improve your bulky abilities. Yeah, you could definitely be considered for later. But yeah, as you can see here, in between stream sessions, I felt like training up a few more of the Pokemon in the box. Namely, so I could knock out a couple species as potential encounters. So, Bumble, Kenya, and Liz Jr. are now fully evolved. Done this purely to knock them out of our encounter list, as I do not want to actually use some of these Pokemon in our team. But for some other Pokemon that I do want to use going forward, I did train up Sahara a bit, as I believe that she'll be a very useful team member to us. And while training her up, she also learned Dig, which is definitely going to be helpful to us. Also trained up Squeaks a bit, because she is just on the threshold of evolving and can be really good to us. With that said, it is time to make our preparations for the gym. And considering what we might be up against, I'm actually going to deposit Charlotte in the box for now and make room for our newest team member, Sahara, as I believe she could be pretty helpful to us. Not only with Dig being a very solid attack, but Sahara's also very defensive, and that could come in very clutch if we're up against a very tough opponent. The Hippopotas line in general, I do have a lot of love for. They're just a very strong Pokemon, just great attack power, and a lot of bulk thanks to their high HP and defense. In the main games, they also benefit from the Sandstream ability, which is useful for being able to whittle down their opponents, which is also very handy for a very tanky Pokemon. Alright, so now it's time to heal ourselves up. And then I'm probably going to buy a few items at the department store just so that we are prepared for the fight ahead, because, yeah, this one could be a bit nasty. Yet we will come back another time. I must say it's very nice that at this point we actually have a good diversity of types on our team. Because early on, having a low diversity of Pokemon types when you're doing a randomizer run can be a death sentence if you encounter the one specific Pokemon that's able to wall-like everything you have in your team. It's why these kind of runs definitely have an emphasis on team building. Definitely makes the overall experience a lot better. Oh, it looks like we have something from our mother. This looks like a repel. Alright, pretty standard item. We're not going to be really needing that in the future. Alright, let's go purchase some items. First, I do want to sell one thing that we have in our inventory, which is a star piece. The only use for those things is to sell them, so go ahead and sell. And you're the one with medicine. Yeah, we can buy a few more regular potions, and then what I'd also like to do is probably stock up on some more of the drinks that we can get up on the next level. Well, at the top of this place. Checking our reserves, we do have some fresh water. However, I do want to stock up on some soda pops, as some of our Pokemon are getting close to having 60 HP, and that would be very useful to us. Yeah, that's definitely another thing you gotta watch out for when you're doing these kind of challenge runs, is item management, and being able to make the most of the money you have. Because in these kind of games, your supply of money is fairly limited. You only get money from selling items or by battling trainers. And in these kind of games, it is much harder to be able to rematch trainers, as they will typically only fight you on specific days at a specific time. So it definitely makes trying to grind up money to be able to spend on healing items a bit of a chore. But it's alright. I will buy one more soda pop and then we should be good. So I'm not really going to see a point where we're probably going to need a stockpile on lemonades very soon, but that is also something to consider a bit later on. Alright, it's all the main preparations I wanted to make, so I guess it's time to head off to the gym. As I said before in the last session, what I would recommend for this gym is have a good supply of fully evolved Pokemon for this particular fight. And also try to have Pokemon around the level 20 range. My Pokemon are a little underleveled for this fight, but we should be alright. Oh boy, just know we're gonna be in for an exciting battle here. But we got a strong team, we should be good. Yo, champ of the making, this gym's home to normal type Pokemon trainers. Only in vanilla. I recommend you use fighting type Pokemon. Luckily I do have one of these. It's actually kind of funny. Heracross is actually one of the few fighting types you can actually catch before this point in the story. The only other one you're able to get at this point, I believe, is a Machop that you're able to obtain with a trade. So, yeah, that is a little on the disappointing side. But hey, we're definitely very prepared for this. For the most part. Some of the trainers here, I really don't think they're going to be too bad, considering that even in the vanilla gem, they tended to use very unevolved Pokemon, so nothing that'd be really serious for us. Oh, Pichu, you just sealed your fate. So how about we give our newest teammate a chance in the spotlight? Sahara, ironically enough, facing off against the very Pokemon that has her ability. So yeah, another reason why I wanted to bring Sahara in is because Sahara got gifted the ability Trace, which allows her to copy the abilities of her opponents, which could be very helpful. Just a nice way to tell the team what kind of Pokemon we are dealing with, and just very interesting to see what kind of abilities that Sahara can be gifted as we're battling different Pokemon. Don't want to go for Dig while we have this confusion up, but we don't have to worry about that anymore. So, we're good here. One more attack will easily take out this baby. Ironically enough, Pichu's getting damaged by its own sandstorm. You little punk. So, we got a lot of battles to do in this gym, so how about we find some stuff to talk about in the interim? So, I've had a pretty good day off today, as it is Labor Day in my region, meaning that we are able to have a day off from work, which is very nice. And earlier today, I had some chicken parmesan for lunch, and oh man, that was good. Definitely one of my favorite comfort foods I like to have every once in a while. And the rest of the day has just been kind of chill. Just been working on filling some things up in Pokemon Violet, which I'm still very excited for the DLC that's coming out soon. So I believe we're actually getting the Teal Mask portion of the DLC next week, which I'm obviously going to be very excited to play through. Just going to see all the new Pokemon that are going to get introduced there, seeing all the new evolutions. I still don't know how my main playthrough team is going to work when I get into this DLC. Like, the main plan is to start off kind of using my main team I was using throughout Violet, and then after a while seeing what new Pokemon I might be finding in the DLC that I could add on to it. I don't know, just very excited for it, especially with what they have shown so far. And apparently, from what I've heard, there are some leaks that have gone out regarding the DLC. And I will say right now that I am not going to be mentioning anything that has to do with leaks, nor will I tolerate anybody here talking about leaks. So please be considerate to everyone else here and don't discuss anything that may have leaked regarding the DLC. Alright, let's take on this lady now. Give it your best shot or I'll take you down. Definitely one of my favorite trainer types here with the Beauty. Just always a very pleasant trainer type to see here. Yeah, that's good to hear, Lydia. Of course you're using that to hamper my fire powers. Luckily, we have a much stronger fire move now in Flame Wheel, so shouldn't have to worry too much about that. Yep, that's especially what happens when you send a baby Pokemon out against the Monkey King. Ah, Venonat. Pretty generic bug poison type that I really haven't used too often. I mean, I am thankful that Venonat at least has been included in the base Pokedex in Scarlet and Violet. But yeah, I still see no reason to really use that thing compared to other bug-type Pokemon. Which is a shame because it does naturally learn some Psychic-type attacks, giving it some utility outside of some other bug poison options. Yeah, we are doing pretty well so far. Only 2 more battles to go, and then we're off to the gym leader. So yeah, talking more about the Pokemon TCG as I was talking about. Yep, no problem, Watcher. It's okay. Ooh, Larvitar. I'm still salty at the fact that I could have had the opportunity to catch a Larvitar earlier. But I'm still thankful that we got our Shanks. Yeah, going back to the Pokemon TCG I was mentioning, I was planning to try to get some more Pokemon cards today, but seeing as it is kind of a holiday today, I do not believe that the gaming shop I tend to visit is going to be open today. So, no Pokemon cards for me. So, try to grab some more cards later this week, as I am actually pretty driven to try and fill up my collection right now. It's obviously going to be a slow progress, because just around the Generation 3 point is when I started to kind of dip out of interest in buying Pokemon cards. So trying to fill up our collection is going to take a while. But yep, that's just something that I can focus on in my downtime, besides like playing games, working, and all that stuff. In terms of some other news I can talk about, last week was actually my 30th birthday, which is definitely pretty amazing thinking that I have made it this far, really. And yep, the birthday overall was pretty good. I got to spend some time with my folks. We had a nice dinner together. It was a very good time. Yeah, just nice to have an opportunity where just have a good meal with better company. Also, with everything that's been going on in the world these days, it's been harder and harder to be able to see my folks, so I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to get to spend with them in the limited time that we have. But it would also be pretty convenient if I had a lot more things accessible to me to make that kind of thing a bit easier, but yeah, but also with that, now that I am 30 years old, I've also been kind of thinking about other things that I want to get done very soon, considering I feel like I have a lot of catching up to do in some areas, and it'd be very nice to do things that are more expected of an adult like me. Obviously, streams aren't going to be slowing down and all that, but just want to try to focus on obtaining some things that will be useful to me going forward. Like, I still don't have my license and I don't have a car. Like, that definitely says a lot. I spent like half of my life just completely not doing that. Alright, let's heal up Sun. We could go to the Pokemon Center right now, but I don't feel like it's going to be very necessary. We already did like everything here, and we barely took a scratch during this battle. Alright, looking at our options here, we got a pretty sizable squad for this battle. I do not know who to lead off against here, but we'll just go with old reliable Snorkel. Oh man, but if there is any battle I'm starting to dread in this run, it could easily be Whitney, as this is obviously a same strength randomizer. And given how infamous Whitney is in the base games, you know this is going to be a tough one. Oh boy. Let us begin.
Hi, I'm Whitney. I saw you at the radio tower just now. Everyone was in a Pokemon, so I got into it too. Pokemon are super cute. You want a battle? I'm warning you, I'm good.
Understatement of the century, she is vicious. Unlike the badge she gives out, Whitney is not plain. She is generally considered a run-ender in most Pokemon playthroughs. And especially in Nuzlocke runs, if you're not prepared, she can dominate entire teams. Alright, already that's a bad matchup for Snorkel, as Lombre is a water grass type. So we're going to switch over to Scarab. And this should be a bit of a better matchup. Yeah, one Aerial Ace should be able to take this little guy out. I do quite really like Lombre. Haven't had an opportunity to use one in my streams, but it's always one that's been on my radar because I really love the low tat line. They're such good Pokemon. Alright, that Tri-Attack did a lot less than I was expecting. Very good. Which I guess makes sense. Scarab is pretty bulky. Alright, just gotta hammer away at this thing, and we should be good. Alright, that's Whitney's first Pokemon down. So who is the second gonna be? Alright, level up on Snorkel. And Moment of Truth. Her ace is a Raichu. Alright, I got the perfect Pokemon for this battle. Seriously, I knew training up this Hippo was going to be good for us. Alright, Raichu could be a... You have pure power? You just sealed your fate. Alright, Raichu can be pretty vicious. These things have very high attack and speed. And with this one having pure power, it's going to make its physical attacks much stronger than usual. I believe that is a ×2 boost on its physical moves, which can be pretty painful. But, yep, Sahara's able to tank that hit and just knock it out in one move. That was great. Easily the easiest run of a gym so far here.
You meanie!
And of course, she's a sore loser.
Oh no, you made Whitney cry. It's okay, she'll stop soon. She always cries when she loses.
Oh no, she wasn't like this in the anime from what I remember.
What do you want, a badge? Oh right, I forgot. Here's the plain badge.
Alright, that battle really went better than expected.
The plain badge lets your Pokemon use strength outside of battle. Oh, you can have this too.
Alright, so that gives us access to strength, which we'll be seeing in a little while, which will definitely open up a few new paths for us.
It's a track makes full use of a Pokemon's charm. Isn't it just perfect for a cutie like me? That's right. I heard this thing called the Pokeflon Dome is now open right next to the national park. You should go try it since you're so good at battling with your Pokemon.
That we shall check out. As why not? It is just on the way to where we need to go to advance the story. But yep, that concludes our challenge here in Goldenrod City. We have managed to claim our third gym badge. And we are more than prepared for the fights that are to come. With that said, given what we're going to be dealing with in a little bit, I feel like it would be nice to kind of switch out the team a bit and try to give some more Pokemon some time in the spotlight, especially because some of them are very close to evolving, and I would very much like that to happen. Oh, got a call from our mother. What's up?
Hi, July, how are you? Found a useful item while shopping.
Yeah, just more of the same. We'll go to the department store and see what she picked up. So yeah, with the items that your mother gives, she always has a set number of... There are a set example of specific items that she will gift us after reaching certain thresholds with the money that we store at her house. Otherwise, she'll just give us some pretty generic items like berries. These berries do have a use as they are very rarely found in this game. And they do have some very nice effects. We just check our inventory here. So those berries that she gifted us, Aka berries, if held by a Pokemon, it weakens a foe's super effective fire-type attack. And we also got other berries from her that do a similar effect but for dark-type attacks. These are pretty darn useful. In a pinch, they can really help your Pokemon to take a hit that would normally be fatal to them, and give them just the edge they need to survive the blow. Alright, we got ourselves a gym taken care of, so let us bring some Pokemon back on the team that we haven't seen for a little while. Alright, both Sahara and Scarab put in a lot of effort in that gym, so you two can take a break. And I want to bring in both Squeaks and Charlotte, as these two are very close to getting an evolution. So, definitely want to put some focus on training these two. So, Squeaks, you can take the lead here, with Charlotte as the runner-up. At this point, these two are starting to fall when it comes to stats compared to other Pokemon, but that should change relatively quickly, especially with the kind of moves they have now, because Squeaks definitely gained a lot. She now has Hyper Fang and Sucker Punch, which are very good moves for a Rattata to have. And Charlotte's now packing Shadow Sneak, which is a Ghost-type priority move. Very helpful. Alright, with all that taken care of, there is one other thing we could do in Goldenrod City now that we have succeeded in beating the gym leader, and and that's to return to the flower shop. Apparently there's an odd tree on Route 36. They say it dances when you water it. Oh, that's a playing badge from Goldenrod Gym. Did you defeat Whitney? Well, then there's nothing to worry about, is there? I'll let you use this squirt bottle for a while then. Oh, never mind, keep it. So with that, we get the squirt bottle. It's a pretty helpful item for advancing our journey. And is also useful for something else that will be available to us in a little bit. Something else I want to do is want to talk to that guy in a little bit. But I'm probably going to wait until after our Pokemon have grown a little bit stronger. Just because I still want to put some focus on training up these guys. However, we recently learned from Whitney that there was something new that is now available to us now that we've beaten her. So the path over here is now unblocked. The Pokeflon Dome is this way. Please go for the entrance gate and do participate in the games. Games? I like games. I've been waiting for this moment. Behold my friendship with my Pokemon! Wonder if I can participate too. It's only running with Pokemon, right? Well, we shall see for ourselves going forward. Oh, look at this guy. I feel it. The twinkle in your eyes. The twinkle of friendship. You're quite something. Your Rattata's quite a Pokemon. It's ready to participate in the Pokeflon, bud. Most of all, your solidarity with and trust of Pokemon makes me believe in infinite potential. Alright, follow me. This guy's design kind of reminds me of Wolfric from Pokemon X and Y. This kind of has that strong old man vibe. What do you think? This is the Pokeflon Dome! Pokeflon is a sports festival for trainers and Pokemon. Inside the dome are various challenges awaiting trainers and Pokemon to test their friendship. Why don't you try it? You're amazing, bud. This is a pleasant surprise. To see a Poke-athlete with strong potential, such a pleasure. I'm glad I held the Pokeflon here in Johto. My name is Magnus. We shall meet again, bud. Say you, young Poke-athlete. Magnus is such a cool name. I like that even his poly-rap is like, get in. Yeah, this is a brand new area for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and there is a lot to talk about here. Running and jumping, and there's so many events for Pokemon to choose from. Which one should I try? Well, we'll see a little bit of this going in. Step right for the doors, and oh man, the atmosphere here is just great. So they have 10 of events. Which Pokemon should I choose? Wow, you have such good eyes! Can I tell you about my last dream? Sure. I used to love jump events. The record I have for when I was fully active as a Poke-athlete is 998 jumps. Just 2 more! All I had to make was 2 more. I had to retire due to my age. Could I ask you to jump 1,000 times for me? Well, the record may make you dizzy, but you're still young. You can do it. Yeah, I'll just sit and wait. There's a vending machine here, which is useful. Let's talk to some of the folks here for now. There are 5 Pokeflon courses. They're divided as speed, power, stamina, jump, and skill. You have to choose your Pokemon carefully according to the course. That we shall. Some Pokemon are good at speed events, some are not. You need to form a team whose members can help one another. If you go on, you'll see the Museum of Poke-athlete Records. I'll someday be a Poke-athlete holding a record there. The score you achieve in the Pokeflon will become athlete points, and you can exchange them for prizes. You may be the last team to finish, but your score will still count. You know what? I've tackled over 500 times, finally! You're doing fine, but not as good as me. I wonder if any Poke-athlete could be better at tackling than me. So what you have here is the hub for a lot of mini-game challenges that we can participate in. Oh, look who it is again. Hi, July. Are you here for the Pokeflon? Me too. I've been so excited since its construction. It's close to Goldenrod City, you know. Huh? Were you gonna participate in the Pokeflon looking like that? You're not prepared at all, are you? So, are you a medium or a small? Beg your pardon? You look more like a medium. Okay, I'll get you a jersey that suits you. You want to look your best if you're gonna participate in the Pokeflon, don't you? Wait, right there.
This is just right for you. You receive a jersey. You look perfect. Now that you're ready, Oh no, where are my Pokemon? I have to go back. See ya.
And there she goes. With that taken care of, let us get into the main event.
Welcome. This is the reception for admission.
Will you try the Pokeflon? Yes, we shall. Which course would you like to try? So we have a selection of 5 different courses that we can go through. Each course has 3 specific mini games that are available to them, depending on which event you choose. So speed courses center around speed, power courses center around power, all of that. We'll go for the speed course, which is the first one on the list. Please come this way. Alright. And as customary, we change into our uniform. It kind of works like contests in that we have a specific outfit that we wear when we are participating in these events. And now for the moment of honor. We need to decide out of which Pokemon we have in our party and in our boxes which ones are going to participate. Not you because you're dead. So every Pokemon in the game has a specific rating for all of its stats, which are unique to the Pokeflon event. And you want to select a Pokemon that will be good for that specific event. So Squeaks has very high speed, so you're going to be our main user in this one. Also, you can really see here just some Pokemon are exceptionally strong in a specific stat. Like Sun is exceptionally good at skill. So yeah, we just want to look through our various Pokemon or boxes and see which ones will be really good to compete in this one. It's really nice because you get to incorporate not only Pokemon in your team, but the ones you have caught in the PC for this event, giving them a chance to shine outside of just being caught for the sake of filling up your Pokedex. One other Pokemon we could check for this. Nah, Javelin does not have good speed for this. Alright, so, but last Pokemon... Yeah, let's go with Sun. Have a mostly normal, but also our starter in this event. Welcome to the Pokeflon! Today's event, the Speed Course. Who will shine brightest today? Let's meet the competitors! If you try your best and don't fail, you're sure to do better. Team July, Squeaks, Walker, and Sun. Jump, fight, be like the wind. Someday I want to fly high. Team Richard, Pidgey, Spearow, and Natu. Wow, you're energetic and hardworking. I won't get tricked by your cuteness. Team Susie, Pikachu, Teddiursa, and Vulpix. Do you think you'll keep up with me? They call me the Victorious Victor. Team Victor, Ponyta, Doduo, and Growlithe. We can obviously see that our opponents have also selected Pokemon that are really good for this event too. Alright, we're ready. Aim for the top. Let's Pokeflon! Alright, Event 1, Hurdle Dash. Aim for the goal and jump to run. Touch the Pokemon to jump. Control 3 Pokemon at the same time. Jump the hurdles. And it kind of goes more into some of the things here. In Hurdle Dash, you race against time to the finish line. Jump over the hurdles and be first to finish. Points are given based on how many seconds it took all 3 Pokemon to reach the finish line. Touch the Pokemon to jump. Jump to clear the hurdles. Control 3 Pokemon at the same time and finish before everyone else. So that gives you a good understanding of the rules for this minigame. Yeah, not at all, Lydia. Go for it. Alright, when you're ready to start, just hit the start there. Obviously, the minigames here are touchscreen focused, which is going to make things a little interesting. Here, this is controlled with the mouse in my current setup. Just want to tap your Pokemon as they approach the hurdle to make them jump. If you make them jump when they are close, but not actually hitting the hurdle, you're able to get them to get an additional speed boost, which can be very handy. Just pay attention to how fast the hurdles are coming at your Pokemon, and you should be pretty good. So yep, we actually managed to finish with, well, most of our Pokemon placing in the lead. Alright, results of the first event. So we receive our results based on our position of our Pokemon. All of us managed to finish in an accumulative 97.8 seconds. And the score we placed will translate into the points for the overall course. So yeah, as you can no doubt tell here, this is much easier to go through on legit hardware than it is in my current setup. But we're gonna have to just deal with it. Next event, Pennon Capture. Slide the stylus over a Pokemon to move it. Hit others from behind to take pennants. We'll go a bit more into this as we're actually playing. So we have a small sandbox where our Pokemon are just going to slide through. You want to collect pendants that are scattered all throughout the sandbox. Your Pokemon can only hold a certain number of these pennants. So you want to be very precise with getting your Pokemon out there, collecting pennants, and then bringing them back to the start line in order to fully count them as being collected. Honestly, this is probably one of my least favorite of the events in this, although I do have certain... hang on, I made a little screw up there. Alright, we're good. Setup should be just fine here. Yeah, I don't tend to do very well at this minigame compared to some of the others. I do kind of have a trick where if you just make your Pokemon go in a loop, you're very likely to gather up pennants in a good fashion. Only have a few more seconds. We can just grab one more and then get it back to the finish line. Alright, we only collected 28. I'm interested to see just how many our opponents collected. Said before, this is one of my least favorite of the events. Ew, we placed third. So that's definitely going to affect our score here. Only got 84 points in that event. And the final event for this course is the relay run. Quickly flick to dash. Flick as fast as you can to go faster. Switch when you're tired. So got our last speed event here, which is obviously to run through a little bit of an obstacle course for our Pokemon. You want to flick the control stick like this to be able to move through the course. God, I am just messing up a bit. Alright, not really my fault here, just kind of a... So your Pokemon also has their stamina counted in this event. But you need to avoid the various hazards here and try to get to the finish line as fast as you can. And your Pokemon will have their stamina wear out, meaning you gotta switch them. Honestly, this isn't really too bad on the mouse system here. As long as you remember the layout of where the various hazards are, you shouldn't have too much trouble with this one. Ow, someone was able to knock me out while I was kind of stunned there. Yeah, you're basically getting the gist of what we can see here with the Pokemon. Just free little mini games that you're able to play and earn points with. Obviously, the better you do here, the more points you'll be able to earn, as we shall see in a little bit here. Yep, honestly, this isn't too bad of a set with my current setup. So the main purpose of this event, obviously, the main goal you want to go for is to make as many laps around the track as you can, as the more laps you make will lead to your score. This is honestly one of my favorite events from the entirety of the Pokémon. Just very fun, just weaving your way around your opponents and around various obstacles. It's a good time. The end. How was the third event? That time we actually managed to place first with 14 laps. Alright, we managed to win at least 2 of the events, so that should mean we win the whole thing. Great job, athletes! Which team fought the hardest? We got the results. First, who's overflowing with fighting spirit? A challenge bonus for Pokemon and team. So we'll also receive some additional points just based on certain criteria that were met during the challenges. Moving on, point leader, Team Susie's Pikachu. Of course, Pikachu gets the big thing. As a prize for effort, Pokemon that jump the most. Team Richard's Pidgey. Team Richard's Natu. Team Susie's Teddiursa. Team Victor's Doduo. That's all. So yeah, definitely going very Harry Potter with the additional points given to the opponents here. Alright, points for the Event 1 being added up. We obviously won that, giving us a good score. Event 2, we did not do as well. And then the final event should have pushed us into the lead. Yep, there we go. Overall winner with 377 points, Team July! And with that, we received a Speed Medal. Team July beat its personal best in the Speed course. Congratulations, that was a wonderful performance. Keep aiming to be the top Poke athlete. That is Pokeflon forever! And our reward for doing all of that. Good job! You'll receive athlete points based on your score. This time, July's score was 377. Earn 377 points. For winning these events, you'll be awarded another 100 points. So whenever you place first place, you always will receive an additional 100 points onto your score, which is definitely very helpful. And we got other stations in here, which are probably what you would expect. So this counter is for Link Pokeathlon. You're able to compete with your friends in these events and just see how you can fare against them. So this counter is use the data card. The monitor next to me will allow you to check your records. Some are cool and some are embarrassing. So at this station we can exchange our points for data cards, which will tell us about various information about how we do in the events. I'm not going to be purchasing any of these because Pokeflon really isn't going to be a major goal during this playthrough. What I want to do is talk to this counter. You must be new here. Welcome to the Athlete Shop. Have you and your Pokemon been exercising, flying sweat, breathing in unison, newborn friendship? We support your Poke-Athlete lifestyle. The athlete points you have earned can be used here for prizes. Let me say this again. Welcome to the Athlete Shop. This is where you really want to spend your money. I mean, your points earned from doing Pokeflon events. As the gifts here are obviously pretty good. You can get some apricorns if you need them, which are also useful for things connected to Pokeflon. You can get healing items here, but the big thing you want to go for are evolution stones. Pretty much every evolution stone that is needed to evolve any Pokemon in the game, you can purchase here using athlete points. Although some evolution stones are locked into the post-game, so you're going to have to wait before you can get certain things, like being able to evolve your Togetic or your Murkrow. And you can also get rare candies here, which instantly will raise the level of a Pokemon. Obviously, evolution stones are what you want to go for. At the moment, I don't really need to grind for evolution stones, but at some point I will be doing some more Pokeflon events if I catch a specific Pokemon that requires an evolution stone. And obviously the prize of this counter will rotate out every day. So there's a different prize that can be earned on certain days of the week, which definitely helps to encourage playing these games and doing the Pokeflon events as much as you can. I definitely sunk a lot of time into Pokeflon when I was younger. It definitely took up a good portion of my Heart Gold and SoulSilver playthroughs, outside of like actually beating the game and filling out the Pokedex and all that. It's just a good time. I really like the inclusion of all these minigames. We only got to see the surface of what we can do here. There's so much you can participate in. This is the Solidarity Room. It's to show the solidarity of Pokemon and people, as well as the history of the Pokeflon. So down here, we can check our course records. So we've only earned one medal at the Pokeflon, but it will display your best score for your Pokeflon events. So obviously, our team here from the previous speed course is displayed here. Very nice. The Pokeflon does go way back. That obviously goes into some things. When you win a course, you receive a medal. I've got to win in every course. Ah! Aw, that Rattata also wants to compete. Only Pokeathletes who have come in first in 5 of the courses are allowed here. So there's even more that you can see to this place if you do better in the events. It's an old scroll, the beginning of Pokeflon, to commemorate the friendship of the person and free Pokemon that conveyed the words of the cure. People started to tell their achievement. The commemorating eventually took the form of 10 games to compete in, just like the obstacles in the legend. It's an old worn scroll, Pokeflon myth. When a disease took over the entire island, one human and freed Pokemon overcame 10 obstacles to spread the word about the cure. Oh, kinda like Balto. I heard that Pokefleets with great records are gonna have their shoes displayed at the museum. Gross! It's an old wall painting. One person and freed Pokemon seem to be learning something from looking up at the sky. Oh, that's an interesting glitch there, Lydia. Especially with regards to a Pokemon that you don't typically encounter during normal gameplay. If we head up in the upper section here, this actually puts us in the stands for the Pokeflon. I'm not going to talk to everyone here because obviously just flavor text that is relating to Pokeflon, but it is nice to just kind of talk to some of the NPCs, as it obviously helps to flesh out this world. But yeah, I really like this place. It's just a fun time to play the games, and obviously you get really beneficial rewards for your team by doing so. It's just great. But there's some more areas outside the Pokeflon that we can explore. There's more to Pokemon than battling. That is true. Oh, look at this. Entourage. Oh, they look good today. They weren't so well yesterday, but we'll win today for sure. So that character is actually using the Ace Trainer model, so obviously these Pokemon must be well trained. Oh, look, it's our buddy Cameron here. How about we take a photo with you, buddy? And hopefully things don't get glitchy like last time. Let's take a picture in front of this juice stall. Say soda. Got a nice picture. Thank you for that. Now, actually talking to this guy will unlock something neat. Energy drink, welcome to the Apple Juice stand. What's that confused look about? You don't know about Apple Juice? There, take this. We received the Apra Blender, which goes in our Apricorn box. When you have the Apra Blender, you can make Apra Juice to let your Pokemon show their true potential. It's so easy to make. All you have to do is to put Apricorns in the Apra Blender. Put in as many as you can. The more the merrier. Then you walk. You can run if you want. 98, 99, 100 steps. Here, then you open it, give it to your Pokemon, or drink it yourself. You can buy Apra Juice here. Why don't you try and see how it works? Charge yourself with friendship. Get them to know about Apra Juice. Pick one from the shelf. So this stall is interesting if you want to make your Pokemon a bit better at the Pokeflon events. As now that we have participated in the Pokeflon, this gives us access to our Pokemon's performance screen, which will obviously show various ribbons that we managed to collect, as well as the Pokemon's Pokeflon stats, which is totally different from like contests, but you know, it's pretty interesting. So you can see the stars that are not filled in on the Pokemon stats. So the star outlines will show you the max level your Pokemon can be for a specific stat, and shows how well that they can potentially do in an event. If you want to fill up the stars to make your Pokemon a bit better in a certain stat, you use Apra Juice made with the Apra Blender to turn the Apricorns you collect into stat buffs for these specific stats. It's an interesting mechanic to be sure, but for me personally, I just tend to just pick whichever Pokemon naturally has 5 stars in a certain stat and use them for the various events. Because that's just way easier than having to grind up Apricorns to be able to do that. But it is nice if you want a specific Pokemon to compete in an event it is naturally pretty bad at. And fun bit of trivia regarding the Pokemon's performance stats. Believe it or not, a lot of legendary Pokemon, obviously, will have max potential in all 5 stats. You know what other Pokemon is able to potentially have 5 stars in every performance stat? Sunkern. That's right, the weakest Pokemon in the game can be one of the strongest competitors in the Pokeflon. That's just hilarious to me, and I know a lot of people definitely get a kick out of just seeing this little Colonel just racing along on the racetrack, just outspeeding everyone, or just breaking more bricks than these heavy-hitting, muscle-bound Pokemon. It's freaking fantastic. Each Pokemon has its unique traits. A true Poke-athlete knows them and lets the true performance of his or her Pokemon emerge. That is very much true. Have you heard of Apple Juice? Pokemon can increase their performance with food and drink. Apple Juice is a drink developed from nutrition research to improve performance. If you let your Pokemon drink it before a Pokeflon event, it'll show its true potential. Yep, that is very true. So yep, also just like how this adds more layers to Pokemon in general. Just, you don't need to rely on their battle stats to see which Pokemon are going to be useful to you in the long run. Like, you can really go for a very out-there team when it comes to competing in the Pokeflon events. Like, I've had a lot of runs where I would be using mostly Pokemon that are just sitting around in my box. It gives those Pokemon something to do while you're using 6 main Pokemon on your team. And it's just very fun. I really like it a lot. Sadly, we really haven't seen mini-games of this capacity in some of the later games, although some games do tend to include some mini-games every now and then. But nothing like really as fleshed out as the Pokemon. Like, we only barely scratched the surface of what can be done there. But with all that taken care of, we come back here to Route 36. Listen, when I sprinkle water on that wiggly tree, it jumped right up. It just has to be a Pokemon. You soaked it. Oh, that's the squirt bottle. Soak the tree for me. I want to see what happens. Now, part of me is a little concerned with our current supply of Pokeballs. We have a decent supply here, but nothing that would be really amazing at this point. Oh, Ian's calling. What up? I used the tips I learned from watching you battle take down a wild Barboach the other day. Thanks to you, my Pokemon's much stronger. Get the chance to meet again. Hope you show me some more tricks. Yeah, we have money to spend, so why don't we head back into town and grab some extra Pokeballs for this. Yep, I know we're just kind of making another detour, but this is necessary considering what normally appears from the tree on that route. I want to make sure we have a good stock of items for being able to deal with what's ahead. Also, for the record, I still have not registered Fire Breather Walt in the Pokegear. I just don't really feel like receiving calls from him for reasons. Alright, let's head to the second floor, as that's where our Pokeballs are going to be. And I believe we talked to you. Alright, what I specifically want here is to buy some Ultra Balls. These are pretty much the best Pokeballs we're able to acquire for the time being, having a ×2 modifier on catching Pokemon compared to regular Pokeballs. They should come very much in handy for what we're going to do ahead. I'm also thinking we don't really need to focus too much on restocking on regular Pokeballs, since we have a free source of Pokeballs that we can easily get from Kurt. So I'm not really going to focus on purchasing regular Pokeballs going forward, as our main goals are going to be mainly to try to obtain the best balls we need for catching new Pokemon for the team. It's also especially useful because we're only going to be able to catch a certain number of Pokemon in our journey, so it's not really going to be worth it to invest in like 100 regular Pokeballs, you know? We're not going for full completion of this game. just to make enough captures that we have good options for the fights ahead. Alright, with that said, it is time that we finally deal with this. Now, who do I want up front for this? Thinking about our options here, I actually think having Sparkles in front would be pretty good. Since you have Effect Spore, it would be useful for seeing just what we're able to inflict on our opponent here. So, I feel like that would be very nice. Also gives Sparkles a chance to do something in this session. Cause I'm pretty sure we haven't used her at all so far. Alright, let's do this. There's an odd tree. Use the squirt bottle? Yes, we shall. The odd tree doesn't like the squirt bottle. The odd tree attacked. So in Vanilla Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you will always run into a Pseudo-Wudo here. And we get Glue. Okay, that's actually not that bad. Especially because this now gives something we actually can grind at the Pokeflon for in order to get something. Alright, Gloom could be pretty useful to this team. You have a really good supply of status moves that could be very helpful to us. And you do evolve pretty quickly, as all we need is a Leaf Stone to evolve you. Which, yeah, we also need a Leaf Stone to evolve our Dottie. This thing is actually being a little bit of a pain. That Acid is just not meshing well with the strategy I want to do with Sparkles. We might want to switch to someone else for this. Yep, that's really not good, especially because your special defense got lowered by Acid. Yep, Charlotte is going to be pretty good here, since this thing can only damage us with a Poison-type move. And Charlotte is completely immune to poison in general, so we'll be very good here. Alright, let's weaken you now. Let's go for Shadow Sneak. Being a priority move, that's going to obviously be very good here. Well, not so much in terms of dealing damage. Charlotte is starting to drag a bit compared to our other Pokemon in terms of stats, but that's going to change pretty quickly. Alright, now we've got you weakened. Let us go for the capture. Alright, regular Pokeball isn't cutting it. So let us go for our Ultra Ball. Finally get to show off these beauties. Come on. Really? No shake on an Ultra Ball. You're a Gloom. You're not even that hard to catch. Alright, let's try this again. There we go. Alright, what is also interesting about Gloom is that this is a Pokemon that has two different evolutions. So it might actually be worth it in my downtime to try and see if I can win first place in the bug catching contest. And to see if we're able to get the grand prize, as that is an evolution item that we can use on Gloom. Alright, but now that we have this new addition to the team, would someone in chat be able to provide a nickname for this new Pokemon? Because otherwise, I will try to come up with a name myself. Okay, I think I have an idea for a name. It's gonna be a little weird, but I was thinking I'd name you Chlora, after chlorophyll.
That was fun. I want to give you this for entertaining me.
We received berry pots, a pretty nice key item.
With the berry pots, you can grow any berry from any region with no worries. That's right, I'll give you some berries too. Berry pots won't do any good without berries.
And we received some orange berries from our friend here, as well as some pecha berries.
You have to plant berries in the soil. You should water them from time to time, then they'll grow strong. To go back to Goldenrod, you heading for Ekritique? And you should go north here. See you around.
Yes, we'll go take care of that very soon. But we got ourselves a new key item, and one I'm definitely going to be registering. So the berry pots are a very useful item in this game. With these items, we are able to cultivate berries anytime we want. We only have access to 4 pots, but these are still really good items. If we manage to pick up fertilizer, which I believe we can buy at the flower shop in Goldenrod City, they can help affect the growth of our plants. So I'm going to go ahead and plant a few berries. Considering what's going to be coming up, I'm actually going to fill up our pots with orange berries, as these are going to be useful for something in the future that will be very handy for us. So yeah, once you planted a berry, you use your squirt bottle to water the plants, allowing you to... And then you're just able to check up on the berries from time to time and just see how they're progressing. Pretty much works exactly how berries will work in other games. So just check on these flower pots whenever you can, just to see how well the berries are developing, and then you can harvest the spoils. It's very convenient just being able to have berries on hand without having to go to a very specific spot in the region to collect berries from. It is so damn useful. Just another great convenient addition in Heart Gold and Soul Silver that I haven't seen featured in any other games in the series. It is great. Yeah, I know, right? Like, there's no easy way to obtain berries if you're playing frickin' Black and White, as the main feature that was used for getting berries in those games was shut down later. Alright, but now that we have dealt with that Rafflesia in the way, we now have a quick path to Violet City, which is obviously going to be very handy. We're just able to quickly cross between Violet and Goldenrod whenever we want. So yep, in my downtime, I'll be checking on our berries and seeing how well they're developing, and making sure we have a good supply of them, because orange berries are definitely going to be useful for something in the near future. Oh, we're getting a call from Beverly. What's up? It's Beverly, how you doing? Spruced up my Jigglypuff and made even cuter than before. I happened to see a wild Meryl the other day, or so I thought. A closer look showed it was Wingull. How do you mistake a Wingull for a Meryl? Those are two very different Pokemon. Whatever. Alright, we definitely got some more time in this session, so... Next thing I wanted to take care of was just moving forward, as we don't really have anything else to explore at this point. Especially because we don't have access to strength. We're not going to get that for a while. Zep, didn't mean to talk to you, sir. And thinking about what other daily events there are specific to the Johto region, yeah, there's really not much else we're going to be doing around here for the time being. So let's just move forward. We can pick up a max potion here. Oh, that's real good. And we can move up here to Route 37. New route means new catches. Alright, what's our next Pokemon going to be? Whoa, Hariyama! That is really good by this point. Also, what are we going to send out against this thing? Actually, Charlotte should be fine. Alright, Hariyama. So this thing is definitely going to be interesting. It's a big, beefy Pokemon. And as you can see here, it's really doing a number to us. Considering our options, we really don't have too many good moves against this thing. Do I want to risk extra sensory? Charlotte's stats really aren't the best, and Hariyama has a lot of HP. So I think it could take an extra sensory. Yeah, this is a really good fight. I still want to... Wow, that was a critical hit, and it did that much damage. Really shows how beefy Hariyama is. Alright. So hopefully we're actually able to catch this guy. I do want to keep using Scarab as our main fighting type, but this is some really good backup. Just a very solid Pokemon in general. I do like Hariyama a lot. And we caught him. So, once more, I'm gonna ask our chat here if there's any names that we could give to this Hariyama, because at the moment, I can't really think of anything. Oh, actually, an idea just came to me that I think would be perfect for this guy. So I want to name you... Wonton! I'm sorry, I just feel like that is a perfect name for a Pokemon like Hariyama. Alright, with that taken care of, man, we have gotten some pretty good catches in this session, haven't we? And I'm definitely excited to see what that Hariyama has in terms of its ability. Now, we got a couple trainers that we can fight on this route. And we're just going to be dealing with some of the fights around here as we make our way to the town. Although I will say at this point that there are a few battles here that, because of our challenge, are going to be a little... They're probably going to be a little tough, given that this is a same strength run. And going forward, there are a lot of trainers in the Johto region that love to use fully evolved Pokemon much earlier than they normally acquire them. So it's very likely that we're going to run into some very powerful Pokemon going forward. Ah, Jesus, Squeaks, why are you missing so much? Like, I know that Hyper Fang really isn't the most accurate of attacks, but this is still ridiculous. There we go. That should hopefully take out the Remoraid here, as it's not a very defensive Pokemon. Ooh, we got a critical hit too. Good work, Squeaks. I lost. That's pretty sad. Sad for you. God, that just reminded me of that one line Sonic says in Sonic Heroes after defeating the final boss. He's like, too bad it's all over for you. But what's nice as well about this route, we have 3 apricorn trees here. They each have different apricorns, including a new variety we haven't seen yet, red apricorns. I believe we can use those to make level balls, which will have a better catch rate against Pokemon that are lower level than your Pokemon. So it could be useful to us going forward, especially because the Johto region doesn't have a lot of high-level Pokemon, as we're going to be seeing during this journey. Alright. We got a most recent teammate here, and we got a lot of battles going forward. So, Nidoran, that's actually a fairly normal encounter for this area. So, what are some stuff that we can talk about? Squeaks, what the heck? Like, I know for a fact you do not have Hustle as an ability. Why are you missing so much? Squeaks! Man, I should have kept Headbutt. This is ridiculous. 3 times in a row you have missed with this attack, Squeaks. What the heck? Alright, I'm gonna finish you with Sucker Punch because... well, I guess that's a downside to Sucker Punch. So, Sucker Punch is a fairly unique move in that it always gets high priority over the opponent. However, it can only work if the opponent is using a direct damage attack. So if they use a status move like that Nidoran was using Tail Whip on us, then it wouldn't have done anything. It's certainly a great move besides that one limitation. Incredibly useful for a lot of situations. Are you kidding me? That is Blossom, one of the evolutions of Gloom. Man, if we gotten that as our encounter for this area, that would have been tremendous because it means that we wouldn't have to decide which of Gloom's evolutions we would use in this playthrough. Alright. Yep, I guess that is to be expected, because in the vanilla Heart Gold and Soul Silver, this route is about where you would encounter Pidgeotto as well as Stantler. So it makes sense we're starting to see some more higher Pokemon here. What's also nice that we have these fully evolved Pokemon is that they will give us better experience yields than their lower forms. So it's just a nice opportunity for a Pokemon to get some extra levels in. Which obviously we're going to need for both Squeaks and Charlotte. They are so close to evolving, and I really want to get that taken care of soon. Alright, the thing's going for Mega Drain. That should not be too bad, because Charlotte has a double resistance to it. Yep. Very good. So, what's some stuff that's been going on that I was feeling like talking about? So last week, I was feeling inspired to start playing the Spyro Reignited Trilogy again. And yeah, that was definitely a very fun time. Especially because I wanted to go back to Spyro 2, and I want to take down notes for when I eventually stream that game on this channel. As Spyro 2 has a quality to it that I do not particularly like compared to the first Spyro game, where some levels you cannot fully complete the first time you visit them. So I wanted to get through Spyro 2 and just jot down a couple notes as I go along to see what the most optimal route through the game would be. And I can safely say that I have managed to fully gather up my notes from that playthrough, so when I eventually get to streaming that game, it should be a good time. But I will also say this on the note of Spyro 2, that particular playthrough, it's gonna be interesting. Because for whatever reason, I actually discovered that even if you start a new file in a Spyro 2, as long as you have saved data that is 100% for that game, and you have managed to get a very specific endgame power-up, you actually have that power-up when you start a new file on that system, which is going to make our eventual playthrough pretty interesting. But yeah, we'll definitely go more into that when we finally get to playing Spyro 2 on the channel, which I'm probably not going to do this year, as obviously want to get through this Nuzlocke run. And I want to try to play catch up with some other games that I wanted to do this year. But we'll eventually get around to it. It's going to be a good time though, because I do quite like the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Alright, these two are going to be interesting. I don't really know if Squeaks and Charlotte are going to be that useful here, but I do want them to get experience. Alright, let's do this. So I got two opponents here. Oh, you're a cute little trainer. Why don't you battle me?
Hey there, you young trainer. Why won't you battle with me?
Getting double teamed by two beautiful women. It's my greatest fantasy come to life. Ooh, boy. Yeah, this is an interesting matchup. So these two collectively have a team of 4 Pokemon, and it's a double battle. This is going to be painful. Yeah, this is going to be a rough one. Let's switch Squeaks out for Sparkles, because I obviously do not want to have Squeaks out against a Hitmonlee. I'll probably want to take Hitmonlee out first, because between the two of these guys, I'm more worried about Hitmonlee. That's a very powerful Pokemon. Ooh, rolling kick. That did some high damage, but we did manage to paralyze it. Alright, that's very good. And hopefully this thing doesn't have a certain nature that could benefit from that attack. Golduck here is also going to be very vicious. It actually has pretty good stats by this point in the game, even though, compared to other Pokemon, it's not really the strongest. I want to knock out Hitmonlee first, so let's just dunk on this fit. It's switching out. Bronzong? You have a Bronzong! Okay, so the reason we're encountering these very high-level Pokemon right now is because these two beauties use Wigglytuff and Clefable, the fully evolved forms of the Jigglypuff and Clefairy line. And because of that, their Pokemon selection is obviously going to be much higher because this is a same strength run. Oh boy. Alright, Bronzong is paralyzed, so I'm not too worried about you right now. Let's focus on the Golduck. Charlotte is kind of weak right now, so might be a good idea to switch to Snorkel. You could take the water attacks from Golduck pretty well. Just worried about what the Bronzong could do, because Psychic damage from this thing is going to hurt a lot. Yeah, let's switch Charlotte out. I don't see you being too useful going forward. Alright, Sparkles, you should be taking out Golduck here. Yep, just barely got the KO on Golduck. Alright, should definitely heal up Sparkles here. Oh yeah, Bronzong was going to target our Spinarak, so it's a good thing I switched. Oh boy, this is going to be rough. Alright, Sparkles, I need to heal you. Let's go for a Super Potion, and then Snorkel, you can Bubble Beam Golduck and finish you off. I might want to switch Dottie in, because as a Dark type, she will resist Bronzong's Psychic moves. But we'll save that for... Golduck has Dry Skin! Oh boy. Alright, so we just cannot hit you with water moves at all. Alright, Sparkles, you can finish off the Golduck. Snorkel, you attack Bronzong. Yeah, this is definitely going to be one of the more tactical battles here. It's really saying something that the gym leader, which is usually one of the more infamous trainers to fight at this point in the game, isn't giving us as much of a challenge as these random hotties. Alright, Golduck is down, so we don't have to worry about you. But what is coming out next? Alright, Bronzong is going for Confuse Ray on Sparkles. Not really the best here. Snorkel's getting some good speed boosts here, which can be useful. Next up is Jinx. Oh, that is dangerous. That thing is... It has slow starts. I don't think that's really going to be that bad, but... Oh boy. Alright, this thing is deadly. Ice and Psychic is a fantastic offensive combination. So we gotta take this thing out right now. Bronzong, we could take you out right now, but I am worried about Hitmonlee getting back in here. Actually, come to think of it, Snorkel's pretty low on health right now. But I really don't have a good switch in. I guess we could go to Squeaks. But then Squeak's not going to be that useful for the Hitmonlee that'll be coming out. You know what? I'm going to go for this just because I want to try to knock out all the Pokemon on at least one of these beauties teams. If we can do that, this should make the battle a bit easier. Powder Snow. Ooh, that could be bad. It hits both of our Pokemon and it has a chance to freeze us, which is a very uncommon status at this point. Oh, Bronzong's going for the confusion. Oh, that's bad. That is so bad. Okay, we have to double heal. There's nothing else we can do to secure a victory against these two. Alright, this may seem cheap, but it is our best chance of winning this fight here. Yeah, this was definitely one of the battles early on that I was dreading, because we got a battle with 4 Pokemon that are all on a higher tier than most of the Pokemon we have. Ooh, that is good. Effect Spore put Jinx to sleep. So that should mean that we have a good opportunity to take you out. The thing with Squeaks, I don't know if Sucker Punch is going to be effective while Jinx is asleep. So let's just go for Hyper Fang. Alright, that should do some sizable damage. Jinx is low HP and low defense, so it is actually pretty easy to take out, as long as you have a good physical move. Alright, next attack will finish off Jinx. Just gotta worry about this Bronzong here. Alright, next attack will finish these guys. Squeaks, you go for Rock Smash. Alright, that takes out Jinx. Very good. And Squeaks grew to level 20! That is a nice reward for Squeaks putting in the effort in this battle. Aw, damn. Oh, really didn't want you to take a damage there, Sparkles. Okay, Squeaks is being targeted here. That's fine. We're both confused. When both of your Pokemon are confused in a double battle, that's just obnoxious. I would switch to Dottie here, but they're not going to be that good when we're up against the Hitmonlee. Actually, I might do a pivot here. We'll switch to Dottie with Squeaks, so we don't have to worry about psychic moves coming from this thing. And then once the Bronzong is taken out, we'll switch Dottie out for Charlotte, and then Charlotte will be able to handle Hitmonlee's fighting attacks. Yep, I think that's going to work just fine. Oh boy. So next moves here got to be a good one. Sparkles, you target the Bronzong, and then Dottie... Alright, we're all out of super potions. I want you to heal up Charlotte, so that she is prepared for dealing with Hitmonlee. Alright, Sparkles knocked out of confusion. Let us finish this thing! Alright, the Liberty Bell is down and cracked. So now what do we got coming at us? Well, I know what's coming at us. Next up is Hitmonlee. You're paralyzed, so we should be pretty good here. Let's go for the Spark with Sparkles, and then Dottie will switch out for Charlotte. And we should be able to finish this off pretty well. Come on. Yeah, there we go. Oh, man. Sparkles, you really put in a lot of effort here. Thank you. And also, thank you, obviously, Charlotte and Dottie and Snorkel and Squeaks. God, most of our team worked together to take these two out. Just really shows how useful team building is when you're doing a same strength randomizer. Alright, but with that taken care of, Squeaks is now finally evolving. Our little rat gets to be a big rat. Eradicate. Yep, she is definitely going to be pretty helpful going forward. Eradicate is a pretty strong Pokemon by this point. And do we really want Scary Face on you? I mean, that could be a solid debuff, so why not? Oh man. These two did some considerable damage to the party, but we managed to pull through and actually survive. Oh man, I need a drink. You wonder what your future holds? Oh, I learned something. There are people like you out there who are very skilled, even though they're young. Yeah, thanks for that. Can I go to town, please? I am exhausted. Yep, after dealing with that near-death experience, we finally arrived at Ecruteak City. Which means... oh boy. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Bill, and who are you? July, huh? You know what? I'm the one who developed the system to transfer Pokemon. But it couldn't have been done by me alone. For example, do you know the Hoenn region? This girl Lynette from Hoenn made the Pokemon storage system easier to use. My friends all over the world are working together to improve the Pokemon trade and storage systems. I have to hurry on back to Goldenrod and see my folks. Bye-bye! So yeah, we get to see Bill returning from Fire Red and LeafGreen here. Morty the gym leader's so cool. Pokemon are really tough too. Kimono girls are so pretty. The way kimono girls dance, the way they use their Pokemon are both marvels. Lake of Rage, the appearance of a red Gyarados. I smell a conspiracy, I know it! So there is a lot that I do want to show in Ecruteak City. However, I'm probably going to save that for the next session, as there's some stuff that I want to take care of now that we have visited Ecruteak for the first time and also have faster access to Violet City. First of all, gods, that fight. Squeaks, I'm very happy that you managed to obtain your latest evolution, but we're going to need you to sit out for the next couple of things. As, wow, you have magma armor. That's neat. I believe that prevents you from being frozen. So, yeah, that's interesting. Whoa, Wonton is Snow Cloak. That could work really well if we have a Pokemon that has Hail. And Chlora has Minus. Not really that good. So yeah, definitely want to see what evolution would be the most optimal for Chlora going forward. I'll see what I can do with that. Alright, so I'm actually going to have only a team of 5 for the time being, as we're going to need an open slot for dealing with some of the things I want to show off. We will be back in Ecruteak City very soon, but for the time being, I want to take care of some stuff that are now open to us, now that we have talked to Bill at Ecruteak City and have a pathway open to Violet City. So yeah, is there anything else we can talk about on our way there? So I guess one thing I really want to talk about lately that I feel like some people might be interested in. So, wow. Nidoran with Flame Body. You traded in an ability that can inflict a status ailment for a different ability that can inflict a status ailment. Neat. So, if anyone's familiar with the channel Team 4-Star, very recently they have started working in collaboration and with a channel that has recently been doing reviews of the Dragon Ball sagas. And the specific collaboration they were doing is that for his video review focusing on the Boo saga in Dragon Ball Z, Team 4-Star have actually included several skits based on events from that portion of the story. So they're basically fulfilling that one promise they made about actually abridging the Boo saga in Dragon Ball Z, which they later went back on because of various reasons that I'm not going into here. But it's just very fun to get to see them actually tackle these portions of the Dragon Ball Z storyline that they didn't get to do on their main show. And just seeing like all the main Team 4-Star cast members collaborating again like this, it's so freaking wholesome. And to see just them working with these characters that a lot of people are attached to and getting to show sides of them that we thought we never get to see. But yeah, it's all very good. So the reason I came back here is because Bill is now at his house here in Goldenrod City. And if we talk with him, "Hi July, would you do something for me and take this?" It came over when I was adjusting Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Someone has to take care of it, but I don't like being outside. Could I count on you to play with it, July? Sure thing. I knew you'd come through. You're the real deal. Way to go. Okay, I'm counting on you. Take good care of it. So we received from our buddy Bill. Oh, I just saw what this Pokemon is on PokeLink. We got a Chimecho from the Eevee that Bill would have given us. Oh, that is hilarious. Well, we finally got ourselves a Psychic type. Alright, so while I think of a name for the specific Pokemon, does anybody in chat have any ideas that we could give to this thing? Alright, I kind of got an idea for what I want to call you. Let's call you Tempo. Which is pretty fitting given that you are a musical instrument. Professor Elm said that Boo can evolve into 7 different kinds of Pokemon. Yeah, but you can only get 5 of them in this game. Ah, frickin' Leafeon and Glaceon. So, yeah. I'm a little disappointed by this, but not for the reasons you would expect. I mean, Chimecho is a fairly decent Psychic-type Pokemon, although one that really didn't get a very good ability. Look at that! You're not even a physical attacker, so that's completely useless to you. I'm more disappointed by this, because I was doing a randomizer run in Pokemon Platinum a couple months back, and in that game you also get gifted an Eevee during the main story. And the Pokemon I got in exchange for that Eevee was a frickin' Vaporeon! So yeah, this is pretty much like such a downgrade from what I got during that playthrough. Not to say it's a bad Pokemon, but I really don't feel like using it, especially because I have a Tarantula over here that's a better Psychic than it is right now. Because she actually hatched out of the egg with a Psychic-type move, unlike this thing. Yeah, I know I'm just kind of ragging on this Pokemon right now. I personally haven't been the biggest fan of Chimecho, despite owning a shiny of this particular Pokemon. But who knows, maybe at some point I may feel inclined to use Chimecho in a playthrough. But we'd have to get very desperate in this run in particular before I actually consider using Chimecho on the team. Now, what I want to take care of that I was alluding to before is I want to talk to this guy. Excuse me, kid, I received this letter the other day from a friend of mine. Here's the reply that I wrote. I'm stuck here wondering if you could deliver it. He's on Route 31. Can you help a guy out? Sure thing. Wow, thanks. So we receive with mail. Wait, oh man, I saw what that thing got randomized to. Oh my god. So yeah, we got ourselves a little quest here where we receive a specific Pokemon from this NPC. Normally he gives you a Spearow, but because of the randomizer, he gave us a Bronzong. Now, we could actually keep this Bronzong if we so want. However, what we get in exchange for the mail is worth it. So, I do want to complete this quest line. Letter, thank you! Adventure was fun, wasn't it? Zubat was the one thing I wanted to avoid. So yeah, this also our introduction to the mail system. So this is a very interesting mechanic where you're able to make your Pokemon hold an item that gives them a very unique message that you're able to write that another player can see. And it's mainly just a multiplayer feature where you're able to write a message, leave it on a Pokemon, then trade that Pokemon with one of your friends, and then they receive that mail and get to read the funny message you left on it. It's a neat mechanic, but not one that is necessary in order to complete the game. So we're not really going to be going more into the whole mail system during this playthrough. But I do like the addition of this quest because it is actually going to be necessary to acquire something that will be useful to us. Potentially depending on which Pokemon we obtain later on, but it can certainly be a useful move for some of the tougher fights ahead if we do want to go for this particular strategy involved with it. What we want to do is take this Pokemon over to Route 31, and then down this ledge, want to talk to this NPC by the Apricorn Tree. Huh? I feel like reading some words on a piece of paper or something. I have a Pokemon with a piece of paper with words on it. Oh hey, I got an email. Huh? I don't know this Pokemon. I'll just let you take care of it. So they give him the mail. Let's see. Thank you for your mail. It was such an exciting adventure. I did not like Zubat, though. That's what it says. I went to a dark cave the other day with a friend. That cave leads to another route. By the way, I must thank you for being so kind. I'd like to do something good in return. So we received TM44 from this NPC. TM44 is... rest! The phrase recover fast became shortened to rest, you see. This is a move to sleep and recover HP. A pretty darn good one. Huh. Okay, so I guess because the Pokemon we sent to this guy wasn't the specific species of Pokemon that the game was hoping for, we were actually able to keep this Pokemon, but still were able to give this guy the mail. Oh boy, this is interesting. This is very interesting indeed. So we got ourselves a heck of a gift Pokemon from this. Bronzong is really good, a very defensive Pokemon that can actually hold its own offensively pretty decently well too. Yeah, I'll consider whether I want to use this Bronzong. It is a very useful Pokemon, but I don't know. I kind of mainly want to focus on the Pokemon I've already caught and not necessarily this very overpowered gift. But yeah, going into the move we actually received as part of this quest line. Rest is a darn good move. When your Pokemon uses this move, it fully restores its HP and cures any status problem it has, at the cost of being put to sleep and missing out on the next 2 turns before it wakes up. It is a darn good move if you have a very defensive Pokemon and just want to fully restore it and cure any statuses to make sure that they are ready for the next bit of battle that they need to do. Very useful on stalling strats. It's just a very good move. One that we might see some use later down the line if I find a particular Pokemon I feel like would be very useful to it. But for the time being, what I mainly want to do is head back to Ecruteak City. And then I think we're going to call it for this stream. We managed to get a lot done, and oh boy, there were a lot of exciting moments during this session. But yeah, a lot of things that I am also going to want to do before the next stream session, which should be happening next week. As now that we have access to Pokeflon, it's a good opportunity for me to grind up some items that could be useful to evolve some of our Pokemon, especially a certain grass type that we currently have with us. And it could also be worth it to try to enter the bug catching contest and see if we can obtain the grand prize, as that would also be pretty useful going forward. So yeah, we really did a lot. Had a pretty successful gym battle. We dealt with these two harpies over here. Got to show off a lot of different side quests we could do around this area, and managed to show off the Pokeflon, as well as catching a lot of interesting Pokemon. So yeah, this was a pretty successful stream. So yeah, thank you for attending this stream, and I'm hoping that the next one is going to be just as good. We got a lot of stuff to show off in the next couple of areas, so I'm very excited to get to see just what we're going to be running into. So next time on Pokemon SoulSilver, we'll be seeing everything we can do in Ecruteak for the time being, and then see what preparations we can make before challenging the 4th gym. Until next time, have a good night and take care.